Hello and welcome back to another episode of How the Hell Did You Get Here podcast, where the myriad of paths to success are discovered and shared. My name is Joe Soja and I am your host. We have an incredible show for you today, and I indeed found another man willing to share some of his stories on how he became successful and how he defines success for himself. So today we have Jerry Beers coming on. What I would like to do first is as always stated in the beginning of the show, I like to state why I'm doing this podcast. And so again, there has been a dramatic increase of tragic deaths, both homicidal and suicidal, for decades now. And I believe that one of the reasons why this is occurring is due to the fact that people find it impossible to turn their lives around. If these people see that they too can turn their lives around and feel loved and purposeful, we may possibly see a decrease in this unnecessary violence. So I do believe that one person at a time can change things for the entire world around us, right? And so I believe that if I continue to show people how other people became successful and how they define success, people out there that are struggling can also find their way to success and define success for themselves through this podcast. So today, I did a little bit of research on one of my idols, and this is a recent idol, actually. Last time we talked about Tony Robbins, and he's been I've loved him for a long time. But I started listening to a podcast. I think it's called the Mel Robbins Experience, the Mel Robbins podcast. Anyway, Mel Robbins is fantastic. She's I'll read a little bit about her. She's a former television host and lawyer, as well as a best-selling author, a popular podcaster, and a highly sought-after motivational speaker. She's written countless books and has sold millions of them already, including the New York Times bestseller, The High Five Habit. I've talked to many people about the High Five Habit. It has grown for me. So basically, you give yourself a high five in the mirror, and every single morning, and you're ready to go. Because when you give someone a high five, it's because they did something well, right? Well, when I give myself a high five in the morning, it's because I woke up. Good job waking up, Joe. We're going to have a great day. Give yourself a high five, And also the 5-second rule, which in short, Mel Robbins knows a thing or two about success and achievement. So she did, progressively go through the works of she went to college, she became a lawyer. Not too much failure earlier in her life, but it is important to know that there are paths to success for people that just want to just continue doing well, right? So she went to law school, transforming trials into triumph. In 2008, when Mel Robbins experienced a serious inflection point in her life, like many other Americans at the point in this time in history during the 2002-2009 subprime mortgage crisis, Mel Robbins' life started to unravel as well. Her husband's restaurant business was on the verge of failing. She was over $800,000 in debt. Her marriage was on the rocks, and she felt like she was on the cusp of losing everything. In addition to this, she was suffering from bouts of depression and anxiety that had her not wanting to get out of bed. Hey, a lot of us suffer from these anxieties, these depressions. I mean, look at me. I suffer from it too. The way I try to get through it is, I look for inspirational things like this podcast that I listen to from Mel Robbins. She used a 5-second rule, which she invented to help herself get moving and get into action. And this is pretty cool. So the idea behind the rule is that during any moment of hesitancy or moment when you know you need to do something, you automatically start counting down from 5, and once you get to 1, you take immediate and deliberate action on that thing you were avoiding or know you need to do. This rule became an effective method that allowed her to overcome the inertia that had a grip on her life. And it helped her land a job with Cox Media, which transformed into an opportunity into television. Enthusiasm attracted the attention of one of other networks, and Mel Robbins would go on to transform her growing celebrity star power into various shows. She even did a TED Talk, which eventually garnered over 29 million views. So, yeah, although by the way, she didn't come from rich people. Right, so she went to college. She went to law school. Yeah, I guess she's a smart person. You know, you don't need to be smart to be successful. I mean, that's been proven time and time again. Look at William Hung. You know, the guy. She bangs. Oh baby, when she moves, he's a successful man, right? And he just went on American Idol and just talked about how, or just sang poorly, and he became an instant star, right? So. In any case, so she had struggles in her life, and by making the decision to change her life, right? It was a small decision. She became successful and continues to be successful today. And I know it's hard to make that decision sometimes to want to be better. But if we put things in our mindset where that 5-second rule, all right, after 5 seconds, I'm just gonna do something, right? You know, all of a sudden we start moving, and and one of the reasons why I'm actually doing this podcast is because of this man that we're about to interview today. I've been wanting to become a motivational speaker for about a year now. This man, Jerry Beers, he was my realtor. He helped through getting our house and another house, and he's just become a really good friend, right? And he inspires me. He gives me good ideas on how to do it. You know what he said to become a motivational speaker? He said, "Do it. Just do it. You know, just go." And I said, okay, I guess I'll just go. And, so I started that, and I did some videos. And now I've turned this into a podcast, because I think that more people will be interested into listening rather than watching me, flail my arms all over the place. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, I'm going to bring on Mr. Jerry Beers, and he's going to unmute soon. Once he unmutes, we will see him. And yeah, here he is, Jerry Beers. How are you, sir?
Good. How you doing, Joe?
Fantastic, sir. Thank you so much for coming on such short notice. It was, I wanted to have you come on in a couple of weeks. You were definitely going to come on, but because I think you're a successful man, of course. Thanks for coming on so short.
Honored to be here.
So, tell me. Actually, tell the audience, what do you do? I mean, tell us about yourself. Like family, work, everything. Tell me.
Let's see. Well, I'm in real estate, but I've also just recently been hired to do coaching through a company called Ninja Coaching, which is part of Ninja Selling, which is not just a business philosophy. To me, it's a lifestyle philosophy full of gratitude, affirmations, life of abundance versus scarcity, and a player mindset versus a victim mindset. And it's a great way for any small business. It's real estate geared, but I've been in installations or classes, the week-long class with people who are life coaches, fitness coaches, insurance agents, mortgage agents. You name it, probably just about almost every small profession has been in there and could use it.
So I think you talked to me about this Ninja Coach thing. Where was that the stuff that you were talking about to me? Like when we were meeting
Mm-hmm.
up, and you were saying, and you were listening to those, and that inspired you. How did you
Yes.
get to be a coach?
Well, I just, my background before real estate was law enforcement for 26 years. Probably 90% of that was in leadership, coaching, mentoring, training. And when I retired, I didn't think about doing that anymore and went right into real estate. And then in real estate, just some different things had popped up, and I found my passion is still in coaching and mentoring others. So I
Wow.
took it upon myself, reached out. I'm going through a life coach course to be a life coach. But I reached out to Ninja Coaching just to see what their process was. Ended up in their process, and on average, they take two, maybe three out of all the people who were interested. And in this case, they took three of us, and I was one of them.
This is incredible. I mean, like you were the one who was saying, "Oh man, these people are great. This Ninja Coach stuff is great. I really look up to them." And then all of a sudden, you become one. This is, I mean, I just find it amazing that you see something and then you go get it. Have you
Well,
always been like that?
oh, absolutely. At the same time I was doing it, I had put in for in some leadership role within our organization, the brokerage I'm with for managing broker. When I didn't get that process, I just put all my effort right into this. I always believe in having a couple options running. As that process was taking a little bit, I started looking at the coaching side of things, and then from that, I looked at the course, and then I jumped into the Ninja Coaching, and I figured the leadership role was option A, coaching would be B, or Ninja Coaching B, and then regular life coaching would be C. And the only reason the leadership was ahead of the Ninja Coaching, I was further in that process. But when that door closed, I'm a firm believer when one door closes, you kick the hell out of the next one to open it. And
It's not like another one
so
another one opens. It's just you kick the hell
yeah,
out of it so it opens.
you kick the hell out of it, and you make that door open, and you follow your passion, you follow your dreams, and
Very
nobody gets
good.
to tell you when it's your. Here's the thing: I've heard before in my life, it's just not your time. I don't hear that. I've been fortunate not to hear that often, but I have heard, oh, it's just not your time. And it dawned on me hearing that again that, you know what? Nobody gets to dictate when my time is but me. It may
Yeah.
not be my time with that company, you know, um, let's say you're trying to go into a relationship and you meet a person and you're interested in them and they're like, "Oh, it's just not our time." Well, you don't get, it's may not be my time with you,
Oh,
but it
yeah.
is my time to be in a relationship. I just need to find the right person. So you just go full head into the next one. Nobody gets to dictate that but you when it's your time.
That's a
Look at
that's
look,
a
look look at the
really
things that you did. When we talked and you told me you wanted to do this. Well, it's your time, Joe. You made it your time. It's nobody can sit there and tell me it's not Joe's time. Joe gets to determine. If you came to me and said, timing wasn't right for me. Well, you determined that. Nobody else gets to determine that but Joe.
I see that. Yeah, no, that's a good point. And little bit about yourself. You're married, right?
Yep.
What's her name?
Valley.
Valley. That's right. I keep forgetting. We still need to take you out to dinner. By the way, I apologize
Yeah.
for.
Yes. Yeah. We need to get together, the four of us, and go to dinner.
Yeah,
We only live
and
in the next two cities adjacent to us, Joe.
yeah. I mean, it takes me 20 minutes to get to you. I'm sure. um. So yeah, and then you have how long you been married?
We got married in September of 2021.
21. Very good.
Yeah.
And man, so a newer marriage. So congratulations on that.
Thank you.
And I think you have a daughter. So you're a grandfather too, aren't you?
Yeah. So between the two of us, we have five children. She had two from her previous marriage. I had three from my previous ones, and each one of my oldest, my son has two kids. My oldest daughter has two kids or two daughters. My son has a son and daughter. My oldest daughter has Two daughters. My youngest daughter has a daughter, and then Valley's oldest son, who is now and that is my son as well.
Right, right.
Um, he's getting married in November,
Wow. He's
so
getting married in
and
November.
maybe who knows when we'll be adding to the grandchildren realm.
Oh man, it's gonna be
Yes, yep,
exciting. Yeah, man.
mm-hmm.
And I'll tell you,
A lot
you're
going on.
yeah, yeah. So I mean, already, you sound like a successful man. I know you, so I know that you're successful,
Right.
and I'm sure that the audience here also sees a successful man, and is very eager to understand how you became successful, and if there were any struggles in your life as well. Without further ado, I got some questions for you. You ready for them?
Yeah, absolutely. Let's ask away.
All right. So as a life coach, I'm sure that you kind of need to feel successful, but how do you define success?
Yeah, I was just talking to somebody about that today, and it's a philosophy I've always used. Success is for everybody is different. There is no monetary number that is success. No, nobody can say when you hit 500,000, you're successful. If you're, if it takes you 500,000 to make a 500,000, you're working all the time, you don't get any time with your family or life or anything like that. Is that really successful? On the flip side, if you make 100,000 and all your bills are paid and you can live the life you want, and you're spending time with your kids and family, and you're fulfilled that way, that may be more successful for somebody. So success is to me is what each individual sets for themselves, and is what they strive for and what's
Right.
important to them.
And for you, where is the sex? Excuse me, success point. Yeah, you know what's on my mind, right? Sorry, it's been a while, so I'm just kidding. You can't help me on that one, can you?
You may have to flip to a different podcast for that.
So where is that success point for you?
My success actually, and this is not cliche, and if anybody doubted it, they could ask anybody who knows me. My success comes from helping others be successful.
My
I
man,
don't have a
my
value
man,
point.
love it.
I don't have a value point. It's if when I coach somebody or I mentor somebody and they're becoming successful, my success is achieved.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that reminds me of so. I think everyone in the audience knows that I'm an alcoholic. I go to AA, and that is like the greatest thing in the world for an alcoholic. An alcoholic loves. I mean, an alcoholic that's in AA loves to help others. Loves to help that other alcoholic achieve sobriety, right? And what you're saying is that as a person, you want others to find that success for themselves and help them get there. Am I correct on that?
Oh, absolutely. If I'm mentoring somebody or working with whether it's in real estate or when I was in law enforcement, I watched officers that I trained as rookies and supervised. Now that I'm retired, they've gone further than they've gone. Their goals and their success has taken them to a higher level. And to me, I can look back and go, you know what? I would like to hope I was a part of that, and I mentored them, and I had some type of inspiration, good or bad. Maybe there was something they didn't like about the way I did
Yeah.
it, so
You pissed them off, and then they became successful.
and they became successful. They didn't like the way I handled a certain thing, and they changed it, and it made them successful in their own right.
Yeah.
That's success to me.
That is fantastic. So becoming the man you are today, how did this happen? What are some of the good choices that you've made in your life to get to where you are?
I definitely had some bad choices in that too.
Oh, and that came. That's the next question. Get ready.
Good choices were just follow. I mean, the biggest one is again following my passion. For example, the getting into law enforcement. I knew, almost every little boy wants to be a policeman or fireman or something like that.
Yeah.
Most most little boys are smart enough to outgrow at least the wanting to be a policeman. I never did. So that was my passion. That's where I wanted to go, and I achieved it very early in my life, the goal. And then once I was in, I was like, I want to get to this level. Um, and I went all the way from being a student police intern all the way to the highest rank of chief of police at one point.
Holy cow! I
And
didn't know that one.
yeah, and I was at the time I was only 33 when I did that, and
Woo.
so I was a very young chief, but I had a goal, I had a passion, and I chased it down. And there was nothing that stands in my way. I didn't care. I never worry about what other people think. I don't worry about what other people's opinion is. I know what I want to do, and that's what I do. And I might let other people's opinions feed my fire,
Mm,
but I never let them bring me down.
yeah, yeah. I'll tell you, that's a tough thing to do because you know, I guess. Well, actually, I think other people when they talk bad about me or something like that, I think it affects me somewhat. But then and then it just consumes my mind, right? But then
Hmm.
I'm here today, and yet there were so many obstacles in life that were blocking me from getting here. And so I think you're right. Like no matter what anyone says. I shouldn't say I think. I know you're right. No matter what anyone says, just keep going, right?
Yeah.
Even if it makes you feel bad, just keep doing what you're doing, and you'll get to where you want to be. And I see that that's what happened with you.
A lot of people use the analogy about looking in the rearview mirror, and I say the only time I look in the rearview mirror is to see how far I've come.
Mm.
I don't care. I don't care to see what's behind me. Everybody says everything is a chapter in life. I've been married. This is my third marriage. And everybody says, "Oh, each one of the
Hey,
that's
third
chapter."
time's a
I said,
charm, right?
"Yeah, it better be." She tells me she ain't going anywhere. So,
Oh man, that's good. That's good. Yeah,
uh,
we're running out of women in this world.
well, all I know is the fact that I found somebody who puts up with me and my smart
Yeah.
ass.
Yeah.
Is I'm lucky, but no, and she is a huge support in everything I do, and I'll talk about that in a second. But it's like everybody says, "Oh, that's a chapter in your life," and I'm like, "No, actually, that was a book." My first
Okay.
marriage was a book. I've read the book. I put the book on the shelf. I'm not a book reader as it is, but I sure am not rereading a book.
I need Audible.
The
Yeah.
next marriage, that was a book in my life. That book's up on the shelf. I don't reread books. Law enforcement career, great career, even through the shooting and all that. Great
Yeah.
career. But the book's on the shelf. I don't reread the book. I'm
That's
writing the
okay.
next book. I'm not writing a chapter in that book. I'm writing the next book.
Wow.
And that's where I'm currently at. Is I'm writing that book.
That is a fantastic way to look at it because I'm not. When you put it that way, like because you can always go back. If you're in the same book, right? You can always go back to that chapter and look. Oh, what happened over there? And but when you have a book, you actually have to make the effort to go get that book again to look back at it, right?
Absolutely.
So when you rewrite books, yeah.
And why would you want to look back on it and bring back either the pain or the suffering? I mean,
Oh.
yeah, there are good times. There are good times in every book. I hope everybody had a good time in their chapter, their book, whatever. But there's a reason that book is on a shelf because that book is done.
Yes.
Now,
Yeah.
do I have fond memories of my law enforcement career? Absolutely. And I sit with my former chief and my former lieutenant, and we sit and we talk, and we'll get together and we'll have breakfast or we'll have lunch and we'll tell our stories. They were fortunate to be at actual retirement age when they retired. I retired again.
Yes,
So
you
as
did.
I'm still working and they're
Yeah.
traveling and playing golf.
Yeah.
But we'll sit back and we'll tell like all the retired, everybody does in their thing. We get together and we tell the fun stories and, be thankful for the careers we've had and the life we had. But that's it. That's the only part of that. I don't pull the whole book down to reread the whole book.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
Because that just
And,
becomes a distraction.
and I'll tell you, why do you? One of your questions was why do you want to reminisce on the things that brought you pain in life, and you know, as a person, I struggle with that sometimes. Like even this morning, but you know, I listen. You give great advice, right? So whenever I have that thinking, right, I am. I always tell myself, why do you want to think that way? Why are you? It happens every single day. Like, why are you thinking of that? Why do you want to bring yourself down? Bring yourself down. For one thing, no one else in this entire world is thinking about that, and it happened 10 years ago. Stop it,
Correct.
right? So, no, I love that.
One of the things I laugh about the most is, and you know, my second wife and I, we don't talk. I don't even know where the hell she lives, and could care less. But my
Right.
first wife and I, we can get along. Now we have grandkids and stuff like that, and we've been at birthday parties for the grandkids and or events that my son and his family have put on, and something will happen, and my ex will say, "Oh, I know him better than anybody," and I'm like,
Yeah.
we got divorced. My God, 16 years ago, or God, no, it's got to be more than that. Um, yeah, just hell of a long time, 20 something years ago.
Wow, that's a long time
Um,
ago.
yeah, long 20, probably yeah, 20. It was, oh God, 16. Oh my God, no, 20 something years ago. I am not the person I was when I was 27.
Yeah.
I'm not even the person I was in my 30s, 40s. Hell, I'm not even the person I was yesterday, because today I tried to be 1% better than the person I was
1%.
yesterday. And
Yeah.
tomorrow I won't be the person I am today. I'll try to be 1% better than the person today.
Yeah.
So for anybody to say, "Oh, Joe, remember 10 years ago you did," Joe's not the guy he was 10 years ago. And I
Yeah.
hope he's not going to be the
Oh.
guy he was yesterday or a week ago or 2 weeks. Hopefully he's 1% better every part of his life.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. So here comes the awesome question. What are some of the bad decisions that you made in your life that got you to where you are today?
All right. Well, I'm not going to be cliche about it, but
Yeah.
you know, I could sit here and I could name off this relationship, that stupid decision. But you know what? I don't really look at. I didn't have any bad decisions, because every decision I made led me to be the person I am today. If you take what others and you at one point you may consider a bad decision, and you learn from it, it's not a bad decision in my book. Um, you know, I could go, "Oh, the bad decision was getting married to this wife or to this wife." Well, you know what? If I didn't marry that wife and this wife, I wouldn't have the three wonderful, beautiful, loving kids that I do today.
Yes. Yes.
If I, um, but I learned from each one of those to hopefully be the best person, husband, and that I can be today to the wife who I adore and want to be with for the rest of my life.
Absolutely.
And that's the same in career. That's the same in when I do things at work. As I build my real estate business, as I'm going into this coaching side of it as well. I still do the real estate, and I'm continuing to do the real estate, but this is another piece that I'm putting into the puzzle. Um, you know, I may have made maybe not handle something the right way, but it wasn't necessarily a bad decision, because I learned from what I did to be better today.
I see that. Yeah. And so we learn from our all of the decisions, good or bad, or however we want to look at them. But what sorts of struggles have you gone through in order to get to where you are today? Like, did you make some bad decisions where there were times in your life where you just these were just terrible decisions, and although you are the man you are today, there were some struggles of I don't know. Lots of people have those struggles.
So yeah, I mean, I'm not going to sit here and blow smoke up anybody and say I never had bad decisions or didn't. I shouldn't say bad decisions. I've never had struggles in my life. Until I met my wife, I'd been single for 7 years, and part of the problem that I had coming out of my first marriage, I met my second wife very quickly, and boom, got married right away. Then coming out of that is when going through that divorce is when I got into long-term relationship situation, and was involved in the shooting where I was shot 4 times on a call.
Oh my.
And so things kind of manifested and went very quickly then. Um, so I never really had time to myself. So when that ended and I moved forward on my own, I stayed single for a long time. But then when I got back into the dating pool, I struggled.
Hmm.
And I would struggle with self-confidence a little bit, in not in life in general, but in the aspect of the dating side of it.
Right, like a
You
woman
can
wouldn't
only
want
talk.
me or something like that. Right. That
In a
kind of.
sense that you meet somebody and you're talking to them and you're via text, phone calls, and all that for a long period of time, and then you finally meet, and then all of a sudden, they could be gone or something. So I'm like, wait a minute.
Oh.
They just, I was everything they were looking for when we were talking, but then we meet in person, and so it's
Ah.
it's got to be it's got to be my parents.
Ah. Oh
So
man.
then you're hitting the gym even harder.
Mhm.
You're going to the gym and you're working out even harder. I'm going to show them. I'm going to show every woman who turned me down that
Mm.
what they're going to be missing.
Mm.
And
Yeah.
that's great for about a week, and then it falls off.
Mm.
It
Okay.
falls off.
Mm.
Um, and you realize it falls off because you realize you're there doing it for the wrong reasons.
I see that.
I shouldn't be at the gym to make myself look better so I can be thrown in some woman's face, or and I want you to understand, so it wasn't like it was a ton of women who did this all the time. But
But one after the other. It's just every
yeah, there's
single
one after
week.
the other. Oh, this guy, all right, that's cool.
This guy's a player.
Um,
Come on.
oh, this guy, don't forget this guy. Well, every woman that found me ugly. But there would be some. There were some that had an impact. A few that had an impact.
Yeah.
But once I started realizing, no, I want to be at the gym because I like going to the gym for me, and I'm going to get in the best shape for me, and I'm going to do these things for me. It changed.
Mm.
It all changed. I'm probably at 53 in the best shape of my life. Then I guarantee I'm in better shape than I was in my 40s.
Yeah, I'd date you. You
Um,
know.
and and it was, well, I appreciate it. And again, Joe,
Took a
that's
long
a
time to
whole
register.
different podcast.
Yeah, again, my mind is somewhere else right now, right?
And again, Joe, that may explain the problem that you mentioned earlier, is you're trying to date the wrong people.
You're right. You're right.
So, but and in that, so there was that struggle in that, and I think at times that struggle created me to not be so nice to some of the women I went out with. Like
Mm.
maybe I don't want to say that I wasn't nice. It was more of, I probably ghosted a few, some women too. I know it's a
I see
horrible thing,
that.
and I truly do feel horrible in my heart for those things.
Hmm.
Because nobody should ever have to go through things like that.
I agree. Yeah.
But
Yeah. Well, I mean, it sounds like you had some struggles in your life, but you are here where you are today. But have you ever felt like giving up? You
no,
know what? You've never felt like giving up.
nope,
Holy
absolutely not.
cow!
Nope.
That is
Joe,
amazing.
when I retired, I mean, 26 years is a long time in law enforcement. It's a heck of a lot of experience and stuff like that. And I had a lot of friends say, well, I said, I'm retired. I'm going to go into real estate. Like, well, the best part is, if it doesn't work, you can always go back. And
Yeah.
I honestly looked at everyone and said, no, because failure is not an option.
Oh man,
Failure
you're like
is not an option.
you're like Superman.
Um, and the best day of my life. So in law enforcement, at least in Colorado, you're certified, and then when you leave a department, you're still certified, and that certification is good for 3 years, which means I don't have, for that 3 years, I could just join on to another department and my certification would keep going. After that 3 years, you either got to test against it or go through another academy. And the best day of my life came that day 3 years later, when I no longer had that certification, because
Ooh,
that was the last string of the parachute that would have made it easy for me.
I see that.
But again, failure was not an option. And one of the best books I ever read is by an individual. He's on the TV show Million Dollar Listing LA.
Mm,
And I want to make sure I get this right, but it's called It's Your Move. And it's by Josh Altman. And he said the first step to failure, I'm sorry, the first step to success is failure. If you're not willing to fail, you'll never succeed because you'll never take the steps. You're going to be afraid of that failure, so you'll never take the steps forward to
mm,
succeed.
mm. So would you say that, I guess, failure is an option, but keeping going to become successful has to be that next option?
In that philosophy of his, yeah, absolutely. I mean, I guess you have to be willing to fail, but I
Mm,
don't look at it as failure. I
I
look at
see
it
that.
as a learning
Learning
piece
experience.
to keep
Yeah,
me going.
totally
You
makes
know,
sense. Absolutely. So, are you so a lot of a lot of people that are out there that are successful have some sort of belief system. Do you consider yourself a spiritual or religious person?
yeah, I do. I do.
Okay, and what does that look for? I mean, it looks like it looks different from everyone, right? It doesn't have to be a
Oh,
religion or
absolutely.
anything like that. But what
No,
does it look for like for you?
you I grew up Catholic.
Hmm.
I mean, when I say I grew up Catholic, my grandmother was a go to church. She went to mass every morning, Monday through Friday, and
Wow.
we went to. I went with my mom was a single mom after my parents got divorced, and we lived in Rhode Island. And this was up till age 7 when my mom and I moved to Colorado. But we went with my grandparents every Saturday night. So I had so when I say strong Catholic background in that, my yeah. Um,
Yeah.
and then when I was married to my second wife, I did join the LDS Church.
Okay.
When we got divorced, I just realized that that really wasn't for me, and I attend a non-denominational church,
Hmm.
not a charismatic one. To each their own.
Oh yeah.
Um, I'm not comfortable with people dancing in the aisles and waving flags. I've been in one of those churches. I
Yep. Yep.
dated somebody who went to those churches,
Hmm.
and that's great for them. I'll never put down anybody's religion. In fact, I always say the LDS church was probably the most family orientated church I've ever walked into.
I believe that.
It's all about family. But now I go to a more um, not as charismatic, um, non-denominational church.
Okay. Well, very good. No, that's awesome. And and being in an AA, we all choose our own higher power, and so I wasn't sure if it was like that, if it was nature or something, because I know that a lot of people are like nature's my higher power. For me, it is the Catholic thing. I still do the Catholic thing, but I always I think one of the biggest things that I've learned is to respect
Mhm.
what other people believe, right?
Absolutely.
And
There's
so
nobody who's,
yeah,
I'm sorry, and I'm not making this about politics or anything like that. I
right.
don't do that. But regardless, whether how somebody else, how you feel about anything in life doesn't make you right versus somebody else being wrong. It's just, that's your opinion.
Yeah,
Your
I see
opinion.
that.
Everybody has a right to have their opinion about whatever it is.
Hmm.
Respect that other people can have opinions. You don't have to agree with them. I have friends who I don't agree with on different things, but we can still be friends. And in those things that we don't agree on, it doesn't make them bad and me bad. We just have a
Right.
difference of opinion. We can still get along and do and hang out and do things. We just avoid that conversation, that topic.
And another thing, because there are people that want to like show other people the way, quote unquote. Um, I've seen it time and time again. Once you start crossing that line of okay, you gotta believe this, they shut down, right? So
Mm-hmm.
the only way to I guess broaden people's horizons is by accepting other people's horizons, right? Or accepting other
Right.
people's beliefs. And so that's that I don't know. That's my thing. So I really appreciate you telling us that. Um, so I want to know because I learned this routine. I learned my morning routine from Mel Robbins. But what is your morning routine, and what time do you wake up? What do you do immediately? Tell me about that.
Oh wow! All right, so I get a heck of a lot of garbage about my morning routine. So I work out every day
It
for the right
shows.
reasons. Thank you. For the right reasons.
Stop it, Joe. Jeez. You'll get some tonight. Don't worry.
So I do work out for the right reasons now. And it's funny because I've seen a huge progress in muscle growth and all that. And so it fuels me more. But in that, on Monday mornings, I get up at 3:30 in the morning.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah,
That's amazing. What are you, a farmer?
This is the part where I really everybody definitely disagrees with me on that. But it's kind of like this. So Monday morning is my heaviest lift day. It's all upper body. Takes me over an hour to get through everything I do. And if I get up later, by the time I'm halfway through, everybody else is starting to come into the gym, and then they end up on the machines I want. And somebody may be looking at their phone or playing around. I've actually seen a man read the newspaper in between sets.
They still make newspapers?
Yeah. And so I realized one day I could either have roid rage without the steroids, or I could just come into the gym earlier and get my stuff done before everybody's getting in. So on Mondays, I get up at 3:30 and I go to the gym. I get a workout in. The rest of the week, other than Saturday and Sunday, I usually sleep in until at least 6. I try to. Sometimes it's 5:30. I'm not a sleep in kind of person. Just depends on how late I've been out. Actually, I shouldn't even say it. I can stay out till midnight or 1, and I'll still wake up by 6. There's just nothing I can do.
There's a lot of therapists that look down upon that, by the way.
Yeah. You
need your 8 hours. You need your 6 hours.
I get that. I go to bed between 8:30 and 9.
Oh, man, so I definitely woke you up with my text last night.
No, see, I'm a smart man. I'm a smart man. I set my phone to do not disturb at 9 o'clock. You can send me whatever the hell you want. You're not going to bother me.
Well, you challenge accepted.
I see it the next day when I wake up. But just keep in mind, when I wake up and read it, I'm going to respond back.
Yes. Oh, so then I better be awake, right? At 3:30 in the morning.
But the rest of the week, Tuesday through Friday, it averages probably 4:30 to 5.
Okay.
Monday, Wednesday, and Friday are lift days with weights, whether it's upper body, legs, abs. Tuesdays, Thursdays, Saturday, and Sunday are cardio days.
That's beautiful.
I work out. I come home, kind of do some things around the house, get ready for the day, and usually I'm at work between 6:30 and 7.
The first one in the office, right?
Try to be. There is one partner who's been there for a long time, and my new managing broker. It can be a competition between the three of us.
Oh man, first one there gets donuts, right?
Yeah, I wish.
After a workout.
Yeah.
Awesome. So now I know that you you go to sleep at 8:30. But do you have like a nightly routine, or how do you wind down for the day?
Several years ago, our brokerage, and this is part of the morning and evening, and I recommend this to everybody. I just recommended it to a coaching client. There's a great book out there called The 5-Minute Journal.
Oh yeah, I do that every single morning and night.
There you go. I think I recommended it to you.
You did, and I have it right now with me.
And I've got it sitting next to my bed. It's sitting on my bed because if I write it in the morning and if I don't put it on the bed and I actually have to move it, I'll forget it at night.
Same exact. Yep.
So I do that in the morning. So I'm also doing that at night. In the morning, I also write affirmations. Which is a huge thing for me. At the end of the night, it's kind of funny. I don't like to fall asleep to a lot of negative. I actually took the news apps off my phone. The only thing I read about is football. I'm a huge NFL junkie. I'm always looking at the NFL app. But at the end of the night, I actually put on I always find some type of older half-hour comedy show. And whether it's a full episode I watch, 5 minutes of it, depending on how tired I am by the time I go to bed. I like to fall asleep to something funny. So I've done Frasier. I probably have rewatched Frasier. Never watched it when it was originally out. That was a funny thing. I kind of related to him more when I was single. The last time I was single, I happened to capture an episode, and I started watching. I'm like, oh my god, I got a lot like this guy. So I related to it. So I probably have watched the entire series probably 4 times. So I watched Frasier. Right now, I watch Rules of Engagement. I've watched Benson. Just some older half-hour show that one. If I kind of doze off, I can't lose anything.
Yeah.
And two, I don't really have to focus on it. I know they talk about turning down the screen time and doing all that. And I'm all about that. Hey, you do what works for you. I just know for me, and maybe I would get better sleep if I didn't, but at least right now, for me, I like falling asleep to a fun show like that. I don't like to watch something that's going to pump up my adrenaline, make me overthink.
That's a good point.
I wind my brain down. I let it go down. I kind of have some humor coming into it. Now, my wife, on the other hand, she will watch all those crime shows, who did it, and the true life crimes and all that. And it's interesting when we'll be at the gym the next day. She used to go to the gym with me. She does different workouts now, but she used to go to the gym with me. And one time she wasn't even really talking to me, and I asked her what, and she started saying, "Well, I had this dream that you did it." And I'm like, "What did you watch last night?"
Oh my
gosh! Literally, what she watched, she dreamt I was doing, and I'm like, "Stop watching that." Stop.
My wife woke me up one time. She's like, "You did this to me." Is this true?
Yeah, why? Because you watch it.
Man!
It just proves the fact that what we surround ourselves, what we input into our brain, gets into our subconscious and becomes somewhat of a weird reality.
Right.
Our brains are always striving for something new, and you can put good or you can put bad into it. So she's working on not trying to watch, but she's kind of got I don't want to say an addiction, but she enjoys those shows. So I will put up with whatever the accusation is if that's what you like to watch. No, I really don't do. I really didn't do that. I didn't go out and murder 20 million people. I didn't rob banks. I didn't do all that stuff. So.
Oh man. Well, I got one more question for you today.
Okay.
So, what advice can you give to our audience to inspire them to power through their struggles and keep fighting for what they want?
Dig deep down inside, because it's inside you, and follow your passion, and kick the door open next time. Not somebody's house.
Yeah.
That when you're going for something, if a door closes, kick the next one open and keep going. Don't let anybody stop you. Nobody gets to determine when it's your time but you.
That's a fantastic. Oh man, fantastic. Well, I mean, again, you're an inspiring person to me. This wouldn't be happening if it wasn't for you. I'm going to continue trying to be a motivational speaker and continue doing these podcasts. So I want to thank you.
Can you change part of that for me, though? Can you change part of that?
Hold on, let me think of what I just said because I can't remember it. It was so long ago. I said, I'm going to try. Is that correct?
Correct.
And I need to get rid of that. And I say, I am going to continue to become a motivational speaker, and I'm going to continue doing these podcasts and having a great old time.
Thank you. Thank you.
So I want to thank you for joining us, Jerry. And I want to end with this quote from Mel Robbins. So the morning routine that she gave me was, don't ever hit the snooze button, right? That's number one. I wake up, and then I make my side of the bed, and then what do I do? I do it every morning. So I make my side of the bed. Oh, I give myself a high five in the mirror. And then I take the dog for a walk, and then just a couple weeks ago, I started doing. I ride 1 to 2 miles on my bike, and isn't that amazing? And I do 15 push-ups right there and then.
Joe. Good job. And it clears your mind, it gives you clarity, and it builds up the adrenaline in your body for a good day.
Oh man, and it's been a life changer.
I make my bed every day.
Fantastic. Because it's ready for you at the end of the day, right? Like you did something. You accomplished something.
Right, Joe, if you make your bed, that's the easiest thing you'll do all day. If you exercise and
Yes.
you exercise hard, that's the hardest thing you'll do all day. If you get up early and you do those two things before most people have woken up, you've done the hardest and the easiest thing that you could do all day.
You
Everything
totally
else
said that
is
to me.
part of it.
I remember.
Everything else is just part of it.
That's incredible. So and then I work on something that I'm trying to accomplish, right? So I'll work on my podcast, or I'll work on my AA steps or something like that. So that's the 5 things that I do to make a $1 million morning.
Good
So
job.
one of the things that a quote from Mel Robbins, and this is, you know how everyone says, okay, we need to prepare, right? Prepare.
Yep.
Well, according to Mel Robbins, start before you are ready. Don't prepare, begin.
Oh, I love that.
And it was you were kind of like the guy that actually inspired me to do that. Just start. Oh, you're not prepared? Just start being a motivational speaker. Just do it, right? So I did that, and it was fantastic. So so that's our show. I want to thank Jerry Beers for coming on. Thank you very much.
I'm honored to be invited.
Yes. So the goal will be to do an episode every 2 weeks with a different guest every time. Our next episode will feature someone else. I don't know who it's going to be yet, but I'm sure I'll find somebody. So come back to find out how our next guest has become successful. It's going to be an amazing episode. And until then, this is Joe Soja signing off to remind you that anyone, absolutely anyone, has the capacity to turn their life around and live a happy, successful life. Have a great day, everybody.